With 3 years of my own hard-earned money and a significant contribution from my parents, I scraped together $250,000 and finally bought a beautiful house in a prime location. And then my wife, Jessica, gave it to her brother as a wedding gift. In a fit of rage, I decided to let everything rot. I quit my high-paying job and spent my days doing nothing but playing video games and watching TV. When Jessica finally realized I had truly given up, she panicked. She pointed a trembling finger at me and screamed, "Liam, are you even a man? It's just a house. Is it really worth all this?" The day we bought it, I was with my wife at the sales office. I paid the deposit, but I had to rush off to meet a major client, leaving Jessica to handle the final paperwork. After the renovations were complete, I wrapped my arms around Jessica in our new bedroom, ready to celebrate. That's when I heard footsteps in the living room. We walked out to find my brother-in-law, Kyle, swaggering in with his girlfriend, Haley. Kyle boasted to the girl in the low-cut mini dress, "This is my new place." Impressive, right? Of course it was impressive. It was a fully furnished, $250,000 house in the best part of town. I stood there stunned. "Kyle," I said, my voice tight, "this is my house." "Don't be ridiculous, Liam," he scoffed. "I bought this place with money from my own hard work. Go ahead, check whose name is on the deed if you don't believe me." He was so confident, as if he truly owned it. I turned to my wife. "Jessica, what is going on?" Her face was a mask of discomfort. She pulled me aside, whispering, "Kyle finally has a serious girlfriend. Just let him borrow the house for the wedding, okay?" "Whose name is on the deed?" I demanded. Her eyes darted away. "Does it matter whose name it is? We're all family. Even with family, accounts should be clear." I pressed, a knot of dread tightening in my stomach. $250,000 was no small thing. Tears welled in Jessica's eyes. Haley was afraid Kyle was trying to trick her. She said she wouldn't marry him unless she saw his name on the deed. So I had to. "You had to what? Say it," I warned. "God, you're so petty. It's just a house." Jessica snapped, her own anger flaring. "It's in my brother's name." The words hit me like a physical blow. A roar filled my ears, and the world went black for a second. All those sleepless nights working. Over time, my parents' lifetime of labor, all of it had gone into this house, a place with a good school district for our daughter. As I gasped for air, Jessica wrapped her arms around me, her face flushed. "Let's just go home for now, okay? I'll make it up to you tonight, I promise." Jessica and I dated for 2 years and had been married for 8. We had a 7-year-old daughter, Lily. Jessica was notorious for coddling her brother, a fact that had scared off many other suitors. Our own wedding almost fell apart over the bride price. Her family demanded $75,000, not including the traditional gold jewelry or the banquet. My family couldn't afford it. I asked my mother-in-law if she could lower the price. She insisted it was just for show and that the money would eventually come back to us. But she wouldn't budge. I was ready to call the whole thing off. "Forget it," I'd said. "Let's break up." Jessica tearfully begged me to stay, suggesting we settle on $40,000. "Surely your family can't afford that," she'd cried. After 2 years together, I caved. I paid the $40,000. My mother-in-law's return gift was a set of bedsheets. The entire bride price went straight into Kyle's pocket. After we were married, without my consent, she frequently transferred money to her family, tens of thousands of dollars over the years. This time, she had given away the entire house. I had heard of women who excessively doted on their brothers, but I had never seen anything like this. She was willing to give away the roof over our own heads. I finally understood that she was a woman with no boundaries, no sense of priority for her own family. I pushed her away and walked out. "Liam, don't be angry. Wait for me," Jessica called after me. That night, she slid on top of me in bed, purring. "Honey, I'm here to make it all better." "I have to work tomorrow," I said coldly, pushing her off. "Fine, it's your loss. But don't you dare stay mad at me," she huffed, turning her back to me. Did she think that was the end of it? She was wrong. I was done. The next day, I went to my office and submitted a request for my 15 days of annual leave. Every year before, I'd cashed out my vacation days for a nice bonus. But now, my heart was just too heavy. Once my leave was approved, I sent Jessica a simple text, going on a business trip for 3 days. Then I turned off my phone. I spent the next 3 days exploring the province's most beautiful scenic spots. On the third night, I switched my phone back on. It was flooded with missed calls and messages. There were some from work and one from my mother, asking if I needed money after buying the house. The rest were from Jessica. Liam, the property management fee is due this month. When are you sending the money? Liam, where's the money? Why is your phone off? Lily's lunch fee is due. When are you transferring the money? And don't forget the Lancome skincare set you promised me this month. It's been 3 days. Your phone has been off for 3 days. All she wanted was money, punctuated by fits of anger. I withdrew the $8,000 I had in my account, took a taxi to my parents' apartment, and gave them the cash, telling them to hold it for me. It was the only way they would accept it. They asked me to stay for dinner, but I just smiled and said, next time. When I got home, Jessica was cooking while our daughter, Lily, who was in kindergarten, was doing her homework. Daddy, help me with my work, she said, pulling me over with a sweet smile. I was always the one who helped Lily with her studies. Even in kindergarten, she could recite 50 classic poems and knew over 100 English words. During dinner, Jessica's face was a thundercloud. Where's the money? The market's bad, I said calmly. The company had layoffs. I was let go. There probably won't be any money coming in for a while. What? Her eyes bulged. You're a department manager. How could you be laid off? I shrugged. I didn't want it to happen, but it did. I'm going to use this time to finally get some rest. I haven't had a break since we got married. I'm exhausted. You got fired and you want to rest instead of looking for a job? She shrieked. What about Lily's tuition and lunch fees? What about the $600 monthly mortgage on this crappy apartment and the $150 car payment? The moment I mentioned relaxing, she exploded. As a sales manager, the pressure was immense, but I was making thousands a month, sometimes even over 10,000 in a good month. Now, that income was gone. Kyle took my new house, I said flatly. If you give me the money for that house back, we'll have enough to live comfortably for 10 years without a care in the world. Liam, how can you be so selfish? She spat. He's my brother, which makes him your brother. What's wrong with giving him the house? She pointed her finger in my face. I married into your family, and I haven't enjoyed a single day of peace. And you have the nerve to ask for the house back? My own anger erupted. You're so generous. Why don't you give me a house? You haven't enjoyed a day of peace? You've been a stay-at-home mom since we got married, eating expensive bird's nest soup, binge-watching dramas, and doing face masks. All day. Sometimes you don't even mop the floor. I come home at night and have to tutor our daughter. I'm the one who takes her to the park on weekends. You dare say you haven't enjoyed a single day of peace? I slammed my hand on the table. Liam, why are you yelling? Her lower lip trembled as she put on a pitiful, wronged expression. She knew she was in the wrong and didn't dare push me too far. I lowered my head and shoveled rice into my mouth. That house was my blood and sweat. I would get it back. And I realized I couldn't live with Jessica anymore. This codependent relationship with her brother was a bottomless pit, and I was terrified it would one day drag me down and destroy my life. I collapsed onto the sofa and started playing games on my phone. I noticed Jessica's account had dozens of expensive skins, some costing hundreds of dollars, just like her brother's. I had 3, all of them purchased on sale for $1 or less. And so, my period of lying flat began. I did nothing but play games all day. On the 5th day, Jessica woke up to find me still glued to my phone. She finally lost her temper. Aren't you going to look for a job? Not yet. I'll think about it after I've rested. I replied without looking up. No, you're going to look for a job right now. She snatched the phone from my hands. Hey, I'm in a promotion match. I tried to grab it back. The mortgage, the car payment, living expenses, it all costs money. We need over $1,000 a month just to get by, she yelled. If you don't find a job, are Lily and I supposed to starve? So you do understand that without money, we'll starve, I said, snatching my phone back. Then why would you so casually put our new house in someone else's name? Oh, and besides the house, you've given your family tens of thousands of my dollars. If we had that money back, couldn't we eat out at nice restaurants every day? Jessica finally exploded. It's just one stupid house. It's for my brother to live in, which is the same as us living in it. I married you, so my family is your family. What's wrong with me giving them a little money? I burst out laughing, tears streaming down my face. You're his sister, not his mother. I earned that house by drinking with clients until I almost got a stomach ulcer, by working overtime day after day to create proposals. Last year, my own uncle needed surgery and was short $3,000. I asked you for it, and you said no. He wasn't your uncle. Then your brother wanted to buy a car, and you gave him $15,000 without even asking me. My mother has a herniated disc and needs medication that costs $100 a month. I asked you for it, and you accused me of wasting money. You're so good to Kyle. But has he ever, in all these years, given Lily so much as a $5 red envelope for the holidays? He's the only brother I have, she screamed. How can I not take care of him? Jessica, you can take care of him, but you don't get to sign our house over to him. Liam, she shrieked like a banshee. I can't live like this anymore. With that, she ran crying into the bedroom. A moment later, she emerged, pulling a large suitcase. I watched her, cold and detached. If she wanted out, that was fine by me. If it weren't for the impact a divorce would have on Lily, I would have asked for one. Long ago. In the past, I would have rushed to stop her, to coax her back. This time, I didn't move. In fact, the thought of living alone felt wonderfully peaceful. As evening fell, I drove my modest domestic car to pick up Lily from school. Daddy, I want a hamburger, Lily said, swallowing hard as we passed a McDonald's. You've never asked Mommy to buy you one? I asked. A few times, she mumbled. But she gets really mad and says it's a waste of time. Her words silenced me. Jessica could have easily gotten takeout, but she was too impatient. She'd buy some pre-cooked dishes, maybe stir-fry some vegetables, and call it dinner so she could get back to her games and TV shows. I took my daughter to McDonald's. Lily was ecstatic, devouring a hamburger, a large fries, and a sundae. Jessica didn't like Lily. Once, when she was drunk, she'd let it slip that she disliked our daughter because she looked too much like me. Before Lily started kindergarten, Jessica's friends invited her out with their kids. Lily had a high fever that day, but Jessica left her at home alone. When I rushed back from work, I saw Jessica downstairs, handing out cake to her friends' children. I was furious. When I got home, Lily sobbed in my arms, asking if Mommy didn't love her. Fearing it would scar her, I lied and said it was just Mommy's personality. Looking back, her refusal to help Lily with schoolwork or take her out to play wasn't just a personality quirk. She genuinely didn't like our child. After eating, Lily played joyfully with other kids in the McDonald's play area. Afterwards, I took her shopping and bought her new toys and clothes. We didn't get home until after 9. Jessica wasn't there. Lily didn't even seem to notice someone was missing, a testament to what an absent mother Jessica had been. This solidified my resolve. I had to get a divorce. Lily fell asleep as soon as we got home. I had just tucked her into her little bed when my mother-in-law called. Liam, my daughter hasn't had a single day of peace since she married into your family. She came home crying today. Did you bully her? She said. You were giving her grief about the money she gives her family. What kind of man are you? I raised my daughter to marry you and give you a child, and you begrudge her a little money? By the sound of it, you're even trying to get the house back from her brother? Are you even human? Liam, I am ordering you to come to my house right now, get on your knees, and apologize to Jessica before I allow you to take her home. I hung up. The phone rang again. Without even looking, I shut it off, took a shower, and went to sleep. The next morning, just as I was about to take Lily to school after breakfast, the door was kicked open. My mother-in-law stormed in, her face murderous. Seeing the spread on the table, steamed dumplings, rice rolls, milk, she erupted. Liam, are you human? Jessica cried all night waiting for you, and you're acting like nothing happened? How can you even eat? I almost laughed. Why shouldn't I be able to eat? She was momentarily speechless, her eyes spitting fire. She motioned for Jessica, who had just walked in, to sit on the sofa, then roared at me. I order you to get on your knees and apologize to my daughter right now, and write a letter of guarantee promising you will never bully her again. On what grounds should I kneel and write a letter? I chuckled. On the grounds that I'm your mother-in-law and you married my daughter. I'll kneel. I'll write a letter, whatever you want. Just give me my house back. Understanding the root of the problem, she pointed a finger at me. What? You're not happy that your house is being used as Kyle's marital home? Of course I'm not happy. You're going to take this to court? She grabbed a broom and swung it at me. I easily caught it. You old hag, help me hit him, she screamed at my father-in-law. My father-in-law, a timid man, shuffled forward but didn't dare to strike. I'd heard that his own family had been bled dry by my mother-in-law's family when he was young. As we were locked in this stalemate, someone walked in. Mom, Liam, stop fighting. It was Kyle. The whole family stared at me as if I were a criminal on trial. Liam, it's just a house, Kyle said with a wounded expression. You're being so petty. How can you ask for a gift back? I bought that house with my blood and sweat, and I'm getting it back. On top of that, there's the $15,000 for your car, the $10,000 for your college tuition, another $10,000 for living expenses, and the $1,200 for your new iPhone last month. and the 300 for those sneakers last semester, and the 50 bucks for your dinner date 10 days ago, and the 80 for your girlfriend's clothes last week. And enough, my mother-in-law screamed. Liam, I had no idea you were so calculating. My daughter was blind to marry a mere manager like you when she could have had a director. It was true. A director had pursued Jessica right after she graduated. But he was 35, married, and overweight. The money was good, but being a mistress was not. After weighing her options, she chose me. Let me tell you, my mother-in-law continued, puffing out her chest. Since Jessica married you, she sacrificed her career to take care of this family. She's been your maid, your cleaner, your delivery person, your handyman. The Women's Daily said a full-time mom's work is worth over $120,000 a year. How much have you given her? You have the nerve to complain. I roared with laughter. $120,000? Says who? Go ask them for it. She sacrificed her career? I would be thrilled if she went to work. All she does is play games and watch TV. She doesn't even have time to take her own daughter to the park. Daddy. From the bedroom doorway, Lily looked at me with sad eyes, pointing at her watch. She was going to be late. You brat, what are you yelling about? Can't you see the adults are talking? My mother-in-law snapped at her. Grandma, I'm going to be late. So what if you're late? I was late all the time. School is useless, Kyle added viciously. Daddy. The little girl's eyes filled with tears as she ran to hug my leg. Lily, why are you crying? Grandma and Uncle just said one thing to you. What's the big deal? Jessica glared at her own daughter. I almost smiled. Your daughter is being yelled at for wanting to go to school, and that's your reaction as a mother? Ever since she was old. Enough to understand, Lily had hated visiting her grandmother's house. During the holidays, my mother-in-law would give red envelopes to the neighbors' kids, but not to her. She'd share snacks with them and ignore Lily. If Lily quietly said she was hungry, she'd get a scolding. Or a slap. I used to protest to Jessica, but after a while, I gave up. It was clear my in-laws disliked Lily because she looked like me. All right, my mother-in-law said, wanting to end the standoff. Liam, apologize to Jessica, and we'll let this go. Yeah, couples fight and make up, Kyle chimed in. Just say you're sorry and move on. What about the house? I said, give it back, and I'll not only apologize, I'll kowtow to her. At the mention of the house, my mother-in-law shrieked. Liam, why are you so stubborn? This isn't over until I get my house back. I picked up Lily and walked out. Liam, you can forget about that house. It's your brother Kyle's wedding gift. Her voice roared from behind me. When I returned after dropping off Lily, only Jessica was left in the apartment. Her eyes were red. Honey, I won't do it again. Please, just find a job, and let's go back to how things were, okay? She knew what I was capable of. Even in a down market, I could find a job paying $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Jessica, I said, my heart heavy, let's get a divorce. What? You want to divorce me? She asked in disbelief. I had always been completely subservient to her. Over a house. You're going to let a house ruin our marriage. Her complete lack of understanding left me speechless. Jessica, there's nothing more to say. Let's get a divorce. I will not divorce you, she yelled. She wasn't ready to give up the parasitic lifestyle she enjoyed. Without another word, I gathered my pillow and blankets and moved into the guest room. That night, I was fast asleep when I felt someone kissing me. I woke up to find a naked Jessica on top of me, looking pitiful. Honey, I was wrong. Please forgive me, she whispered, trying to use her body to reclaim her prize. In the past, it might have worked. Jessica, let me ask you. I said, my voice flat. You, me, and Lily, are we a family? Yes, of course. Then we are a unit. We have an obligation to contribute to this family, right? She understood the implication. Honey, I want to have a good life with you. I shook my head and pushed her soft, white body off of me. Get out. I can't live with you anymore. She was a lost cause. Her family's greed was a bottomless pit that I could never fill. To get her to agree to a divorce, I stayed up half the night brainstorming. The next morning, I drove to a wholesale market and bought racks of women's clothing. I was going to set up a street stall. I didn't know how to cook street food, but I knew clothes. Jessica was always meticulously dressed, the epitome of high-class style among her friends. The shame of her husband selling cheap clothes on the street would be unbearable for her. That, combined with no money coming in, would surely push her to file for divorce. After a quick lunch, I found a spot on a busy commercial street, set up 2 clothing racks, and put up a sign. Women's clothes, $2.99 each. Soon, women started browsing. By 4 p.m., I had sold 10 items. It wasn't much, but it felt satisfying. I started packing up to pick up Lily from school, planning to come back out after dinner. Just then, a hysterical voice shrieked, "Liam, what are you doing here?" I turned to see Jessica and her entire family marching toward me, their faces masks of horror. My mother-in-law pointed a trembling finger at me and began to shout, attracting a crowd. "I lost my job. I'm selling some things to make ends meet," I replied calmly. Jessica's face burned with shame. She wouldn't even come close. "Everyone, come and judge for yourselves," my mother-in-law wailed to the crowd. "This is my son-in-law. He was making $6,000 or $7,000 a month. Because of a little argument with my daughter, he quit his job, leaving his family with no income. Now he's selling junk on the street instead of looking for work. No way. That's so irresponsible. Yeah, with a salary like that, how could you just quit? What a selfish man, leaving his wife and child to starve." The crowd started murmuring, pointing fingers at me. "Daughter, didn't you say he was going to find a job soon?" my mother-in-law whispered to Jessica. "I told him to, but he won't listen," Jessica muttered back. "Sis, this is bad," Kyle hissed, then quickly shut his mouth. "If he's not working, what about the $30,000 you promised me to start my business?" He let it slip. I was speechless. Last year, my own sister had wanted to start a business and came to borrow $5,000. Jessica had not only refused, but had given her the cold shoulder, not even offering her a seat. My own sister. If she hadn't known our situation, she would have thought I put Jessica up to it. I ended up giving her the $4,000 I had left in my account. Now, her brother wanted $30,000 for a business, and she agreed? They had my house, and it still wasn't enough. "Jessica," I yelled, my voice ringing out, "give me my house back, and let's get a divorce. And if you want to support your brother so badly, why don't you get a job and pay for it yourself?" I turned to the crowd. This woman constantly gives my hard-earned money to her family, tens of thousands at a time. A while ago, I bought a house, and she transferred the deed to her brother's name as a wedding gift. You tell me, do I deserve this? The crowd erupted. Is this woman crazy? That's not just helping your brother. That's insane. I'd show up with a knife and demand the house back. Damn, this family is a bunch of leeches. How can a mother-in-law be so shameless? Under a volley of curses, they fled. After picking up Lily, I went back out at 7 p.m. to sell more clothes. This would humiliate Jessica, but more importantly, it would plant a seed of disappointment. To get her to divorce me willingly, I needed to up the ante. When I got home, I counted my earnings. 28 items sold for a total of $81.20, a profit of about $30. The other vendors were envious of my good business. Back at the apartment, I saw Jessica's phone on the table. A message from her mother lit up the screen. "Jessica, see if you can get him to go back to work. Otherwise, Kyle won't get his $30,000. See if he has any money hidden away. If all else fails, Mom can find you another rich man." There was also a message from Kyle. "Sis, why don't you just take out a loan? He'll be the one paying it back in the end anyway." My face darkened. They wanted to push me into a fire pit, telling my wife to take out a loan for her brother's business? Shameless. I saw Jessica coming back from the balcony and quickly moved away. I went to my room, my mind racing, and made several phone calls. One was to a lawyer friend who asked me to send over all the contracts, receipts, and payment records for the new house. On my fourth day of selling clothes, I came home to find Jessica's phone on the table again while she was in the shower. It was locked. I had to know their plan. "Lily, come here," I whispered. I hated involving her, but I had no choice. "Do you know Mommy's phone password?" "I do," she said happily, unlocking it for me. "Don't tell Mommy, okay?" "Okay," she nodded. I quickly opened her chat app. What I saw made my jaw drop. That day, under Kyle's guidance, she had taken out $30,000 in loans from various online lenders and transferred it to him. At the same time, her mother was already pushing her to go on dates. Jessica had replied that she wanted to wait a little longer. I took pictures of the screen and locked the phone. The next afternoon, I took Jessica's hand. "Honey, it's hard to find a job right now. I've decided to start my own business. What do you say we try to make things work?" Her face lit up. "Really?" "Yes," I nodded. "Do you have any money you could lend me to get started?" "I don't have any money," she said, shaking her head. I was disappointed, but not surprised. She was a hopeless case. I smiled, finished my meal, and left. From that day on, I took a trip to another city. But every day, I posted inspirational business quotes on my social media for her family to see. No pain, no gain, glory. Lies in the mundane, etc. I called Lily every night to chat. She told me that several young, beautiful women had been visiting her mom, talking about setting her up on dates. 20 days later, I returned, unshaven and looking utterly defeated. Honey, you're back. Jessica threw her arms around me. How much money did you make? She asked eagerly. The first question was about money, not whether I was tired or hungry. I'll give you the money later, I said, pushing her away gently. I picked up Lily and kissed her. Lily, you're going to stay at Grandma's for a while starting today. Jessica, you should probably go stay with your mom, too. Why? She asked, surprised. Or we could get a hotel room, I added. I packed Lily's bag, secretly turned off the security camera by the door, and drove to my parents' house. I had called ahead, and they had a feast waiting. Lily's eyes lit up. My parents knew about my plan for divorce and were fully supportive. They agreed Jessica had gone too far. The next morning, Jessica's frantic call woke me up. Liam, someone threw red paint all over our door. She sent a picture. The entire door was stained crimson. Jessica, you should really stay somewhere else for a while, I said calmly. What on earth is going on? My business failed, I said, my voice full of fake despair. I'm in deep. I owe about $80,000 to loan sharks. They must be the ones who came to the door. What? She screamed. I'm going to have to go back to selling clothes on the street to pay it back, I said pitifully. Jessica, I suggest you find a job too. And don't stay at the house. Click. She hung up. That evening, she called again, crying. Who did you offend? Someone came to the door and said if we don't pay, they'll kill our whole family. I'm sorry, Jessica, I soothed. Just stay away from the house, okay? You're pathetic, she spat. She went to stay with her mother. On the third night, I received an anonymous message. Jessica is going on a date tomorrow night. Here's the time and place. The plan was working. The next evening, I put on a baseball cap and a wig and went to the designated Old Tree Cafe. I sat 2 tables away, my back to them. Jessica's date was a rich second-generation heir in his mid-30s, dressed in a sharp suit and wearing a gold watch. He called himself George Ma, claimed to be an overseas Ritterney from a wealthy family, drove a $400,000 Bentley, and lived in a lakeside villa. He was charming and witty. My mother-in-law, who was also there, was clearly smitten. George presented Jessica with a small, elegant box. Wow, it's beautiful. A diamond necklace. I peeked over my shoulder and saw Jessica's eyes sparkling. It's called the Heart of the Blue Lake, worth $20,000, George said with a smile. If Miss Ding agrees to marry me, I'll also give you a villa, a $100,000 bride price, and a position managing my company with me. My mother-in-law's smile stretched from ear to ear. This was a golden goose. Their family was about to hit the jackpot. Look, she whispered to Jessica. Mr. Ma is so successful and generous. What are you even hesitating for? Mom, I don't want to move so fast. Seeing Jessica's feigned modesty, George excused himself to go to the restroom. Let me tell you, my mother-in-law hissed. Mr. Ma's family is worth over $10 million. He's so much better than that loser Liam. Liam is drowning in debt. He's a bum. Do you want us to suffer along with you? Listen to me, divorce him. Mr. Ma is offering you a villa and a $100,000 bride price. Jessica finally agreed. That night, Jessica came home. She looked at me calmly and said, Let's get a divorce. No, honey, I was wrong. I don't want a divorce. I cried, feigning panic. I rushed over and hugged her tightly. Honey, I'll find a good job, I promise. She pushed me away. It's too late, she said, shaking her head. Of course it was. She had found her whale. A $20,000 necklace on the first date. If she married him, she'd be a rich man's wife with a 6-figure bride price. And me? I was just a failed entrepreneur, a street vendor. No, it's not too late. I held her again, kissing her, caressing her, just as she had done to me when she wanted to make up. Her eyes glazed over for a moment. Then she regained her composure. It's too late, Liam. It's really over. I felt her body soften. Let's have another baby, I murmured. She pushed me away, her face expressionless. I can't live like this anymore. Let's just get a divorce. Fine, but give me my house back. That's impossible. It's my brother's wedding house. She shook her head. She was getting a villa, but she still wanted my house. I sat on the sofa. A message from my lawyer friend popped up. I read it, and my eyes lit up. Then I will not divorce you, I declared, knowing she was desperate to marry George. I wouldn't make it easy. I went to her again, unbuttoning her shirt. We have Lily. Even if my business failed, we can start over. Look, I made $40 today from the stall. We can buy another big house. I pushed her down onto the sofa. No, stop, she cried, her face flushed. Let's not get a divorce, okay? I begged. She gasped for breath, grabbing my hands. Liam, I am being serious. Let's get a divorce. Jessica, are you sure? I'm sure. Let's write up the agreement now and go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. What about Lily? You should take her. You'll have a big house, and I'm covered in debt. No, she said with disgust. Lily stays with you. Of course she wouldn't take Lily. How would she explain that to her rich new fiancé? I pressed her down again. Then you have to give me some money. I can't afford to raise her otherwise. I don't have any money. Then how about this? I keep this old apartment for me and Lily. You leave with nothing, and you assume responsibility for your own debts. There was no way I was paying back that $30,000 loan. It's better if we don't get a divorce, I said, lovingly unbuttoning her shirt again, kissing her lips. In the past, this would have fixed everything. Liam, I've thought about it, she said, pushing me off and sitting up, her eyes glinting with determination. You wronged me. I gave my brother one house, and you wouldn't let it go. You're too petty. We're done. So, she straightened her clothes. I agree to your terms. On the condition that you take Lily. Deal. We signed the agreement exactly as I wanted it. The next morning, we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau. There was a 1-month cooling-off period. During that month, I came home every day, gave her the money I'd earned, and begged her not to leave me. She looked at me with disgust, but took the money to buy new clothes. When the cooling-off period ended, we got our divorce certificates. She moved out that day. I finally let out a long, deep breath. The old apartment was mine. I had custody of Lily, and we were each responsible for our own debts. It couldn't have gone better. My lawyer called. He said the evidence was overwhelming. I had funded the new house, and the initial contract was in my name. We could sue the sales office and Jessica for illegal transfer of property. He said we could get the house back within a month. I thanked him profusely and went to pick up my daughter. Liam, a young woman with delicate features and dark hair flying in the wind, called out to me. It was Sophia, a customer I'd met while selling clothes. She had come to my stall a few times. One rainy day, she saw me struggling and helped me pack up. I offered her some clothes. As thanks, we got to talking and discovered our values aligned perfectly. Sophia, only 26, was already a director at a nearby company. When she heard about my past experience, she referred me for a position at her firm. I started as a manager with a 6-figure salary. I walked over to her, swept her into my arms, and spun her around. Let go. Lily's watching, Sophia said, blushing. Lily giggled. Daddy's hugging Auntie. Shame, shame. I took them home, then drove to a restaurant. I handed a thick envelope with $10,000 in cash to George Ma. Mr. Ma, I said, thank you for everything. Acting is our profession, he laughed. But your ex-wife kept asking me for money. That wasn't part of the deal. How much did you give her? $8,000 this month alone. I can show you the receipts. Here. I transferred him the money. She's not my problem anymore. You misunderstand, George said, waving his hands. A woman like that, it's best to stay away. If she found out I wasn't a real millionaire, she'd accuse me of rape and fraud. My life would be over. The 3 women who convinced Jessica to go on dates, the men who threw red paint on our door, they were all friends I had hired to act. The diamond necklace was, of course, a high-quality fake. Jessica and her family were still living in a dream, expecting to marry into wealth. They had no idea that some jackpots are too good to be true. A month later, I got my house back and had all the locks changed. Kyle and his family came to cause a scene, but a call to the police sent them scurrying away. 6 months later, Sophia and I were living together shamelessly. She was wonderful with Lily, genuine and kind. 3 months after that, we were married. Sophia didn't ask for a bride price and even brought a new BMW 5 Series as part of her dowry. Half a year later, Sophia gave birth to a chubby baby boy. Another 6 months passed. I was in the park with my family. Sophia was by my side, and Lily was pushing the stroller, cooing at her. Little brother. I tossed an empty bottle into a trash can. Immediately, a woman in ragged clothes scurried over to retrieve it. Jessica. I stared in disbelief. Her face was smudged with dirt, her eyes had lost their shine, and her hair was streaked with gray. It had only been a little over a year. What had happened? It's you, Liam? No, I'm not Jessica. You have the wrong person, she stammered, then fled. That woman, she brought it all on herself, an old woman on a nearby bench said, shaking her head, eager to gossip. She had a good family, a husband who made good money, a house, a car. He even did housework and took care of the kid. She had a great husband, but she was never satisfied. She was always sending money to her family, thousands at a time. Then she gave her husband's new house to her brother. Can you believe it? After the divorce, I heard she got with some billionaire. Her family was ecstatic, but the man was married, and his wife found out and made him break it off. With no money to give her family anymore, they started to resent her and eventually kicked her out. They say she regrets it now, remembers how good her ex-husband was. But it's too late. I heard her brother broke up with his girlfriend, too. He can't hold a job and works as a security guard now for a pittance. She has no skills, so now she collects bottles to survive. The old woman sighed, full of pity. I felt a pang of something, but it passed. I looked at Sophia, and we shared a knowing smile. I squeezed her hand, feeling like I was holding my entire world. The path ahead of us was paved with happiness and fulfillment.